Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. And on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. Let's face it, there's a lot of discrimination and hate in the world, and addressing that is a difficult and complex thing to do, right? So we have a question here from YouTube user Your Mother, who I'm sure means that username in a nice way. Who asks us, Mr. W, is it typical for verdicts to get reduced by the judge or opposing counsel or both? Please reply to this inquiry as I am self-represented. Okay, so I guess let's lay the groundwork first so we can all be on the same page. A verdict is essentially you went to trial and you, the plaintiff, you the person saying that you were wronged, won. And since we're on this channel where we deal primarily with workplace discrimination and workplace sexual harassment, let's just assume you won a claim for one of those, workplace discrimination or workplace sexual harassment. Now, I've got a whole playlist on this channel about the different forms of damages that can flow from those claims. It's not exhaustive. There's different laws in different places, certainly different ways, different jurisdictions are going to calculate different damages slightly differently depending on certain things, but you get it. So if you're looking at how to calculate damages, highly recommend hitting that playlist up. I'm not going to link to it because I've already maxed out how much I'm going to do for this channel today just by making this video. It is 7:32 p.m. I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat at the only restaurant in this entire town. If I want another restaurant, I got to drive 35 minutes, 40 minutes to get another restaurant. Lucky for me, it's a great restaurant. Big fan of this restaurant. Great bartenders. So, terrible pizza. Oh my God, the pizza's so bad. Also, steak's so bad. But like, amazing chicken, amazing salads, great bartenders. None of you care because none of you are in this town. I'm going to go back to the question. So, okay, you got a verdict. You won a claim. And then generally in this field, you see a lot of bifurcated trials. So you won, and then you had a damages hearing, and a jury awarded you damages. And what YouTube user Your Mother is inquiring is, we'll deal with the judge first. Is it normal for the judge to reduce the monetary value of a verdict in this field? Yeah, kind of. I mean, judges pretty routinely will disagree with how the jury calculated damages or applied the jury instructions, things of that nature, and will often reach in and adjust the damages. Overwhelmingly, in my experience, this is to adjust damages down, right? If you get a great verdict from a jury, often a judge will step in and say, oh, that's a big verdict. We're not in the business of destroying companies here. And I don't think you calculated that correctly, jury, so we're going to adjust it down. Could it go the other way? Yeah, hypothetically. But I don't really know how often that really happens, to be honest with you. That does happen. Now, I want to stress that happens more with economic and emotional damages than it does with punitive damages. Punitive damages verdicts can be a little bit more resistant to what I would view as judge tampering, which is that people view judge tampering as tampering with the judge. In this context, I'm saying judge tampering as in the judge tampering with my verdict. We got a jury for a reason, judge. Keep your paws off it. Nobody wanted a bench trial. We didn't do a bench trial. You know why I didn't do a bench trial? Because of this. Because of this, judge. We didn't want you doing this. So listen, that happens. It does. It's appealable in most scenarios, but it happens, and it's never good. Now, the second part of Your Mother's question is, can verdicts be reduced by opposing counsel? No, opposing counsel is not powerful like that, but I think what Your Mother is referring to would be opposing counsel appealing a verdict. So this happens all the time. And listen, sometimes opposing counsel appeals a verdict because they think there's legitimate appealable question. Sometimes, right? I think the way this went down, I think the way the judge did this, I think this or that, whatever it is legitimately appealable. And I think we got it wrong, and I want the appeals court to look at it. That happens. But more often, if we're being honest, in my opinion, more often, defendants in this field file appeals not because they think there's a legitimate question to be appealed, but because they don't want to pay right away. And appeals can take quite a while sometimes. I've certainly had conversations with people, defense attorneys, who say, it's a big verdict you got there. I can't believe we lost that bad. Whew. I think your client, though, has a sick kid, right? Why are you talking about my client's kid? Where's this going? Well, I mean, I'm going to have to appeal. And you have that big verdict. And I bet your client could really use that money for the sick kid. Oh, yeah? Yeah. And this appeal, I think this could tie it up for 4 years. And of course, while we're appealing, your client's not going to get a dime. This happens, right? And obviously, listen, I'm punching it up a bit. Nobody's ever like, your kid has brain cancer, so I'm going to appeal. And, nobody says that stuff. But they do it. Right? They do it. They know the client needs money. And they'll sometimes file an appeal and say, hey, listen, you won. You won fair and square. You won. And you won a lot. But I would pay you like 25% of that if you want to get the money today. Otherwise, I'm appealing. And you can beg, borrow, and plead your client not to take that settlement. But sometimes they have to. Because economics, right? Because that money is how they intended to feed their family or put a roof over their head or take care of their sick family members, right? Like, that's a reality. We live in the real world. That happens. By the way, I got to do a story time soon about a kid with a horrible, horrible thing. About a kid with brain cancer and a tough boss. Really horrible boss that I had back in the day. I'm going to shoot that video next because that story should be told. But your mother, I think you're asking me how often that happens. That happens whenever you win a sizable verdict and defense counsel thinks they can get away with it. That's the reality. That's one of the reasons why settlement is so high in this field, is because even when you win, they appeal. And listen, if you win a verdict, I'm sure the firm who won the verdict for the client is going to handle the appeal, like free of charge. They're not going to charge the client extra to handle the appeal. They're like, yeah, we won you, whatever, $5 million, right? And the other side appeals. Can you imagine a firm being like, well, we get our percentage of that $5 million, but you got to go hire appeals counsel? Probably not. The firm might go hire appeals counsel because appeals work is very specialized, but like, they're not going to leave the client high and dry most of the time, right? Although I definitely know firms who are just like, yeah, you're never going to collect, and they walk away. Like, I've seen that happen, which is so wild to me. Like, I don't know. People in this industry are wild creatures sometimes. So your mother, yes, it is common when you win that you'll be tangling with the judge or opposing counsel or both of whom might be attacking your verdict in different ways. This was not a feel good video, was it? Listen, I say that, but there's a lot that plaintiff's counsel can do. That's a complex and dangerous dance, but there's a lot plaintiff's counsel can do. And I'm sure somebody's going to post, well, I'm pro se. I know you're pro se. And you might say, well, how do I fight these fights? I can't. That's just beyond YouTube. Like, listen, if you You want to go to law school and then do like a 5-year apprenticeship at a law firm like that handles just these cases. On your 6th year, we'll get into that playbook. Like that's the level of complexity of that little dance. Right? Like, listen, lots of danger there. You got appeals courts in play. You're tangling with judges, sometimes federal judges, who will be around basically forever for the rest of your career. Like, there's a lot going on. So that is a tangled and complex dance. And you might say, but I need to know. Yeah, I mean, someday I might need to know how to engage in like nuclear fusion to get a really cool power plant. Right? Let's face it, it's not going to happen for me. I'm not saying you're not smart. I'm just saying, unless you want to invest the half a decade plus to get this done, like it's just not going to be something we can convey over YouTube. And that's even, I simplify a lot of things on here. I talk a lot in generalities, right? Broad strokes on this channel. It's not, I wouldn't even know how to begin to put these things into words. I mean, I would, but we wouldn't have a shared vocabulary, if that makes sense. Which again sounds very rude. It's not my intent. I'm not in any way deriding your capabilities. It's just there's so much to learn, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, if this video was helpful, I'm not sure that it was. I guess it was informative. If this video was informative, like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you, or at least to inform more people just like you. Remember, almost everybody works, but not everybody wins. So be smart out there. Take care.